Alright, so I wanted to throw my hat in the ring on this one. This is a topic that's been in the community for quite some time. Did the Grail mud affect Gilgamesh's personality? To me, no, not at all. As a matter of fact, it was actually a plot point that Gil was impervious to the effects of the Grail. So I don't even see how you could come to that conclusion. But I think it's a theory that somebody made a long time ago and the community just ran with it. I mean, if you really paid attention to Gilgamesh between Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero, nothing changed. Sure, in Fate Stay Night, he was more assertive about the way that he did things, but overall, it was never anything out of character. I think what really changed him when he was sitting in that back room of the church with Kirei, and Kirei told him to his face, hey, you know Tokiyomi's gonna betray you, right? And Gilgamesh was like, huh? Yeah, you know, soon as you let your guard down, he gonna pull the rug from under your feet. Oh, that's how we plan. All right. That really opened his eyes to the level of greed that we still have within us millenniums later from his time. That's why when he went on his ramble about flooding out humanity, one of the things that he said was, well, let's be real here. If I don't do it, y'all are gonna do it to each other anyway, so I don't see why it's so bad. And then, of course, the other thing is him staying in the world for the 10 years between Fate Stay Night and Fate Zero. He got a chance to actually witness all the things that were going on. And he's from a completely different realm. He's from a time where everybody contributed to society. So the idea of all these people walking around faultless is something that he can't even fathom. Think about the pyramids in Egypt and how you had several thousands of people, just regular people, carrying several thousands of pounds for literal decades just to build this one monument. Meanwhile, in the time that we live now, we can build whole skyscrapers with just hundreds of people with way less energy in way less time. And he speaks on a plan that's very synonymous to the Great Flood that appears in several different cultures, where God felt like there was so much evil in the world that he's just gonna wipe everything out. His idea is to let the Grail mud flow, and whoever doesn't survive didn't really deserve to be alive anyway. Now, the way I see it, first of all, the flood is crazy. All right, flooding the entire earth and only leaving 8 people is crazy. That's kind of a flex. You had to kill everybody? Really? Not 25%? Not 50%? 8 people? Bro, you wildin'. And in that same vein, I do feel like with his plan, he's doing too much. There's no reason to go that far, but I think he's overwhelmed by how far society has advanced in the time that he hasn't been around. He can't even believe the idea of people not having to contribute, and that's just okay. Like, imagine if the mayor of your city just came door to door and said, hey, we're about to build this structure in the city and you have to help or you go to prison. It's like, wait, what? Wait a minute. But in our times, we have the luxury to let somebody else specialize in those things, and we just sit on the side and watch. We are in a really good place right now. That's why it always trips me out when people say, you know, the world is so terrible right now. And then I think to myself, like, is it really? People today still rob and take each other's lives for resources, right? But back then, people would come up and take your head off your shoulders for an opportunity to get resources. Not even the tangible thing, just the opportunity to get those resources. They would do much worse at a much higher magnitude. Now, I understand things like that are still going on, but speaking from a perspective from America, we got it pretty good. There's always going to be levels in the society, and therefore there's always going to be somebody that's unsatisfied. That's never going to change. That's just the way a society works. So the idea of trying to hit the reset button, especially on that level, just makes no sense to me. Yo, I know Gilgamesh would hate the idea of OnlyFans. You telling me she making $50,000 a year from showing her feet? What? Well, yeah, that's the new wave. It's an abomination is what it is. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that the Grail mud actually altered Gilgamesh's personality? Do you agree with his plan to use the Grail mud to flood out humanity? Is wiping out everybody on the planet doing too much? Because honestly, I feel like that's kind of doing the most. You also have to take into consideration that this is the prime of Gilgamesh before he became wise, and how the era affects the way that he feels about what's going on to begin with. The way that he's thinking about dealing with this is probably the most archaic form that you could possibly think of. I don't disagree with him policing humanity. He is a deity after all. But at the same time, I just feel like there were better ways. And honestly, I just think he has a fundamental misunderstanding as to how much we have evolved.